Looking at this quiet Galilean hillside, it's hard to perceive the tension of the first century. The crowds gathering here were desperate. Living under Roman occupation, they sought a leader capable of overthrowing their oppressors. But Jesus does not take the aggressive posture of a revolutionary. Instead, he climbs the mountain, sits down among his disciples, and begins to teach. His opening words break every cultural expectation. He identifies the true inheritors of heaven as the poor in spirit and promises that those who mourn are the ones who will be comforted. Roman culture valued dominance and physical strength, yet Jesus declares that the meek, the merciful, and the persecuted will inherit the earth. God's kingdom operates on an inverted value system. In this hierarchy, admitting spiritual bankruptcy serves as the prerequisite for entry. The world surrounding these listeners was defined by moral and spiritual darkness. For many, survival meant compromising values to match the environment. Jesus defines a specific role for his followers, the salt of the earth. They are to act as a preserving agent to halt that decay. If they assimilate and lose their distinctiveness, they become useless. He points to the design of an ancient clay oil lamp. No one lights a lamp to hide it under a bowl. It is placed on a stand to give light to the entire house. A believer's existence is designed to be highly visible. This life acts as a public illumination that forces others to acknowledge the Father in heaven. Jesus then addresses the religious law directly. He states that he has not come to abolish these commands, but to fulfill them. The ancient text says, "You shall not murder." Jesus equates this physical act with the internal harboring of anger and contempt. Jesus also redefines the boundary of adultery, moving the standard from the physical act of infidelity to the presence of lust in the heart. He challenges the instinct for retaliation, the eye for an eye standard. Instead, he issues a command to actively love enemies and pray for those who persecute you. True morality is an issue of heart purity, rendering external religious checklists insufficient on their own. This principle applies to devotion as well. In heavily trafficked city centers, some loudly announce their charity and pray on street corners to attract attention. Jesus states that this public performance nullifies any spiritual reward because the goal is strictly social status. The applause of the crowd is the only reward they will receive. He commands his followers to pray, fast, and give in secret. Earthly wealth is fragile. These tarnished and corroded possessions illustrate the temporary nature of treasures vulnerable to moths, rust, and thieves. Jesus commands his followers to secure investments in heaven, where they cannot degrade. A human heart cannot be divided. It is impossible to serve two masters. A person cannot be equally devoted to both God and money. What a person does in secret, and what they prioritize with their wealth, reveals their ultimate allegiance. Fixating on material wealth also exacts a psychological toll. It traps people in pervasive anxiety over basic human needs, what they will eat, drink, and wear. Jesus points to the birds. They do not sow, reap, or hoard resources in barns, yet their heavenly Father sustains them. Then he points to the lilies of the field. Even King Solomon, in all his splendor, was not dressed as beautifully as the wild grass that grows today and is thrown into the fire tomorrow. The antidote to this anxiety is an active command. Instead of chasing worldly security, followers must seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. Trust in a heavenly Father's provision is the only mechanism that breaks the grip of daily worry. The tone now shifts to a warning. The popular road is broad and leads to destruction. The path to life funnels into a narrow gate that few will find. Jesus warns about false prophets who present themselves with a harmless, sheep-like exterior while remaining predatory wolves beneath. A diseased root system cannot produce anything but bad fruit because internal character cannot be hidden forever. Long-term behavior eventually reveals the nature of the tree. This leads to a sobering reality. A person can produce spectacular religious miracles or prophesy loudly, but if their heart remains disobedient, Jesus will tell them, "I never knew you." Verbal professions and impressive religious resumes carry no weight without genuine internal obedience to God's will. Jesus finishes with a final ultimatum. He compares two builders to establish the stakes of the entire sermon. The foolish builder is the person who listens to these teachings but takes no action to implement them. They are building their life on sand. When the severe storms and crises of life strike a shallow foundation, the result is a total collapse. In contrast, the wise builder takes these words and puts them into practice. This obedience creates an indestructible rock foundation that withstands the exact same storm. When Jesus finishes speaking, the crowds are left astonished. They realize they are not listening to a standard teacher of the law, but to someone speaking with divine authority. The final challenge is clear. Simply agreeing with these words is insufficient. Survival depends entirely on making them the practiced foundation of your life. If you enjoyed watching this video, do like the video and please subscribe to Jesus Tell Tales channel for more such videos in the future.